Michael Stewart was crying yesterday, and on Sunday he decided to cry some more after the Old Firm game. Went back to Fog football, and he's flipped at the officiating in the game. He's labelled it disgraceful. He's bashed it. He's buried it, and we're going to look at the mince, the meat of this comments, because I mean, let's be honest. Can you really say it was disgusting officiating? That is such an extreme term to use. Now, I described Rangers' first half performance as disgusting, and I think that is right on the money. But for Michael Stewart to come out and say this, man, he's a bitter, sad little man. He is. And we're going to dive in to the decisions that he thought was disgraceful. He was letting rip on Twitter. It's an absolute FUD. Now, of course, we did have a 6-goal thriller. Great game from the neutral perspective. I think both teams will look at it with their tinted specs on and be like, should have did better there, should have did better there. But at the end of the day, it's a point of peace. Both teams live to fight another day. The title fight will rage on at this time. But of course, what the big man, Michael Stewart, I say the big man, he's a bit of a bottle merchant, to be perfectly honest. He's an absolute bottle merchant. We've seen Roy Keane burying him recently on the overlap. And let's watch Fog Football bury him, shall we? Because he wrote on Twitter, he said, "The officiating is embarrassing our game. They've impacted the result in the biggest game of the season. Disgraceful." End of tweet. Right. Even if you don't think it's a penalty, see, for me, I don't think it's a penalty, the Fabio Silva incident, right? Now, to be fair, he's not actually distinguished what incident he's talking about, but that's the one he's talking about, right? He wouldn't dare say anything against his beloved Celtic Football Club. And I say Celtic, he's not a Celtic fan, he's just a bitter man. He hates Rangers, he hates Craig Levein, he hates a lot of things on this planet, Michael Stewart. But, right, I don't think it's a penalty, the Fabio Silva incident, right? He was diving all game, even though it's not if you get 2-foot it, right, because he's diving all game, that you can't give it. Of course you would. There is contact, I think it's minimal. But you can see why they've gave it, right? And by the letter of the law, it is a penalty. So for him to come out and say that this is disgraceful and used words like that, like embarrassing, I think it's pathetic. I think if you want to describe Fabio Silva as embarrassing for the amount of flop me about he did, absolutely. Because I said it myself. I even said on Twitter that Fabio Silva should be recalled for his loan, should be terminated, and he should be, never play for Rangers again. Because actually, it was pissing me off beyond belief being 2-0 down, seeing him do what he was doing there. But for Michael Stewart to come out here and say that it's disgraceful and embarrassing, I mean, John Beaton, right, gave Fabio Silva a yellow for stimulation, right? He thought he dived, and people are saying it's not clear and obvious. Chris Sutton said it's not clear and obvious. John Beaton's thought he's dived without contact. He's then went to the monitor, seen that there is clear contact. How little is irrelevant. There's still contact. Is it enough to put him down? No. But we know in this day and age with VAR, right, that they're going to give this. It is very rare that a referee sticks with his decision. And for that reason alone, I don't see how this can be labelled as embarrassing or disgraceful. Because by the letter of the law, it's a penalty, right? And by the letter of the law, it's also clear and obvious. If Beaton thought he dived without contact, then looks at the monitor and sees contact, that's a clear enough and obvious enough mistake for him to change it. So for Michael Stewart to absolutely spit the dummy and come out and say this is pathetic. He can disagree with the decision. I disagree with the decision. We both here on Fog Football disagreed with the decision. Pretty much every pundit apart from Chris Boyd disagreed with the decision. Kenny Miller kind of disagreed with it. McFadden was on the fence, which I was surprised about. Neil Lennon didn't think it was one. It's baffling to me how he can come out honestly and say this is embarrassing and disgraceful. That's the wrong words to use. That is the wrong words to use here for Michael Stewart. I do not grasp I do grasp why he's saying it, but to come out and say it, man, it is another thing. Like, we seen him yesterday absolutely crying about the Hibs incident. Again, you can see them giving, not giving. Like, if Michael Stewart needs to earn a bit of credibility back, he needs to be having these meltdowns about decisions that are fucking clear and obvious and not being given. You look at like the handball in the Aberdeen Hibs game a few months ago. You look at the Liverpool Spurs game earlier on this season where I think it was Luis Diaz was like 3 yards onside and they gave it as offside. It's things like that warrant meltdowns, not decisions like this where in the letter of the law they should be given, even if your preference is I don't think it should be given. But yeah, Michael Stewart, guys, meltdown. No real surprise here. It's what he's best at, crying like a little bitch. So till next time, peace.